experiences to us. And so what happens is that God will allow humbling experiences to manifest themselves in our lives, to sort of bring us back to Him. You ever find yourself wondering, everything was going great. Everything was great with my family, with my children, with my wife, with my husband, with my friends. Then all of a sudden, this earthquake or this tsunami happens, and we've had those life-changing things that change directions, and some of the favor that we were receiving and some of the blessings seem to sort of fade away, and then you start asking yourself, why has this happened? So this morning we want to talk about two individuals. The last time we talked about a rendezvous with destiny, but today I want you to step back and look at that. Oftentimes the giants in our lives become so big. You see, you went to bed last night and everything was okay, and then you woke up this morning and you looked in the mirror and that problem that wasn't there manifests itself today. You look in the mirror and you had this pounding headache, and you have this sense of uncertainty, you have this sense of doubt, and all of a sudden this financial giant has just come into you. Now it's making you to the point where you can't think, you can't respond, you can't act. And you're asking yourself, well, how did this happen? How did I get in this situation? And why is God allowing these things to happen to me? The question you should be asking yourself is, why are you allowing those things to happen to you? Because God, being a loving God, will always, a loving Father will always provide. It's us. It's the usism that allows the giants to manifest itself in our lives. If you're going through some kind of a marital problem or relationship problem, you got to step back and deal with the usism. What are the things that you're doing that's contributing to that manifestation of the problem? If you're having a financial problem, you need to stop back and ask yourself, what decisions that I've made along this course that put me in this situation? And remember, Saul didn't think that he had done nothing wrong. Remember, we talked about the fact that Samuel came to Saul and said, Saul, God gave you specific things to do, and you chose not to do those things. You see, God didn't choose not to do it. Samuel chose not to do it. And so, Saul chose not to do it. So what happens is that in this rendezvous with destiny, we're going to see how Saul's bad choices. And you see, you and I have a tendency to make bad choices in our life. And when we make those bad choices, then we want to attribute the incidents in our life to God. But we don't never step back and ask us, but God tells us to kill all the Amalekites, all of the women, all of the children, all of the goats, all of the sheep, destroy everything. And then we decide, no, we're going to do what we want to do, how we want to do it, when we want to do it, because this is what we want. And then all of a sudden, we find everything was going right, and everything starts to go wrong, and then these giants start to manifest themselves in our lives. And the thing about the giants is that the giants are based upon your perception. You see, when Saul won that first victory against the Philistines, they didn't look like giants to him. God says that you weren't the mightiest of your tribe. You weren't the biggest of your tribe, but I chose you. And then through a whole source of catastrophic decisions, all of a sudden now, the Philistines become a giant in Saul's life. Now I want you to see the difference, and we're going to look at it this morning, and go to 1 Samuel 17. Now that you remember, they fighting. Now, remember this. The Philistines on one side, the Israelites on another. Is a crater. Now, down in that crater, everything is magnified. You see, when those giants manifest themselves in your life, you're usually down in a crater. And you hear things louder than you normally hear them. You see things differently than you see them. Inside of that crater, your perception and your analysis change. When you're deep down in that crater, everything is a giant. The sound is a giant. everything. So the Israelites and the Philistines are on side, and inside of that crater, everything looks more difficult. Everything looks bigger than it's ever been. And so now the scene is set. All of the victories of the past. God gave Saul all the victories. Remember, Saul took control of Saul became king when he was about 30 years old. He ruled for almost 42 years. So you see a whole series of giants start to manifest themselves in Saul's life. So now they're going up against the Philistines, and they're on one side and another. And inside of that crater, everything is magnified. And when the giants manifest themselves in your life, everything's going to be magnified. You see, we have problems at the job. No, you don't have problems at the job. You have a job. But everything becomes so big. The little simple thing, the person didn't speak to me when they walked in the door. That becomes a giant in your life. You form a disposition. You don't know what that person was dealing with. But they didn't speak to you. And now that little incident becomes a giant in your life. It becomes a problem. And it magnifies itself because you're down in that crater. And your perspective and your perception is all screwed up. And that's how you become a giant in your life. So I want you to see something. Let's look at Samuel 17. So we got the scene. We see that one is on one side, one on the other. Now watch this. Go to Samuel 17 and 8. I want you to see what you see. Now watch this. This is Goliath. Now, let's go back. So Goliath in 4. So Goliath is the champion of the Philistines. Now Goliath in verse 4 he's from Gath. His height was 6 cubits in span. He had a brown bronze helmet on his head. And he was armed with a coat of nails, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of bronze. He had a brown armor on his legs, and a bronze javelin between his shoulders. Now the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and an iron spearhead weighed 600 shekels. And the shield bearer went before him. Now watch this. Then he stood out to the armies of Israel and said to them, why have you come up to the line for battle? And why have you not come up the line for battle? Am I not a Philistine? You the servants of Saul. Remember, Saul was anointed king. So now Goliath's coming up and saying, look, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all don't want to fight? Y'all are the servants of Saul. I thought Saul was anointed by this God. Your God. But Goliath now seems bigger than God to them. Now watch this. Verse 10. And the Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that will fight together. Now watch this. When Saul and all the Israelites heard the words of the Philistines, they was dismayed and greatly afraid. That's you and me. You see, when those giants manifest themselves in our lives, a paralyzing fear come on us. Oftentimes, that paralyzing fear, you can't move, you can't think, you can't go to sleep, you can't wake up, you're distressed, you're confused, you're lost. You need coffee to wake you up. You need a tranquilizer to put you to sleep, because the giant has become bigger than your God. So what Goliath is saying to them, look, I'm bigger than your God. And the giants in our lives say to us, I'm bigger than your God. You can't face me. Now watch this. Now David, the son of the Ephraite of Bethlehem of Judah, whose name was Jesse, had 8 sons, and the man was advanced in age. Now go down to verse number 15. But David occasionally went out and returned to Saul from his father. Remember the story of David and Saul, so we're not going to go back over that. And the Philistine drew near and presented himself for 40 days and 40 nights. Just imagine that. For 40 days and 40 nights. Goliath came up and said, is there no one who would challenge me? Just imagine being there and you on this side, Goliath on that side, and the echo and the voice in that crater and the sound and the death-defying, the terrifying sound, and it's amplified coming out of that crater. And when the giant is in your life, the giant is amplified. The giant is magnified. the giants seem bigger than anything that you could ever begin to comprehend. If it's a marital problem, it becomes the most paralyzing, dominating thing in your life. That's all you can think about. If it becomes a financial problem, it becomes devastating. It demobilizes you. It cripples you. It makes you think that nothing is possible outside of that financial problem. If it's a health problem, it just becomes so overwhelming. So just imagine the terrifying sound. You've had it when you're sitting home alone and you're lost and you're confused and you're desolate and everything is magnified. Everything is amplified. Everything becomes bigger than life. You start to get paralyzed. You start to not be able to move. You can't sleep. You can't walk. You can't talk. And everything seems bigger than you. That's what the Israelites were seeing. Now watch this. It says, and so in verse 16, and the Philistines drew near and presented themselves 40 days and 40 nights. Now, 40 days and 40 nights just coming up, pounding, saying the same thing over and over again, and no one would face it. And you know what? We don't like to face the giants in our lives. We want to take and get in the bed. You ever found yourself not wanting to get out of bed? Well, you want to take the sheet and cover yourself up. You want to just pretend that nothing exists because you're lonely, you're isolated, you're desolated. And the thing about those giants in our lives, if you never confront the giant, you will never conquer the giant. If you never confront the giant, you will never conquer the giant. So you got to step up to the plate. You got to step into it. You got to step out. Now I want you to see something. There are points in time in your life and points in time in my life. And only God knows those points in time. You know, I once read something one time that says, success happens when opportunity meets a prepared mind. I think I read that in the book, Think and Grow Rich. Success happens when opportunity meets a prepared mind. Now, what does that mean? You remember, David was out there in the field, taking care of the sheep, learning how to play the harp, learning how to use his slingshot. So David was preparing himself. He was out there doing something. You see, God likes men of action. You got to stop sitting around waiting for God to do for you that which God has given you the capacity to do for yourself. You see, all these fair weather Christians, all of these Burger King Christians have it your way, sitting around waiting for God to do what God has given you the talent and ability to do for yourself. If you want to do something, you pray and you meditate on it, and you ask God to equip you to be able to do it. And God, being a loving, caring Father, always is a God of provision and protection. He's going to leave you out there by yourself. And so even when those giants become so big in your life, when those giants become so terrifying in your life, when you start asking yourself, who's with me? You got to remember that a loving, caring Father is going to always be with you. So I want you to see something. We always see David as this shucking, jiving little guy that God just anointed and God just appointed, and David didn't do anything. You remember, Saul had David coming, playing the harp for him. Because when the Spirit of God left Saul and that evil spirit manifested itself in Saul, Saul had to have a way to relax. So David would come and play the harp. And then he would still go back and tend his father's sheep. He would still go back and do all the things that he had to do. He had to deal with the king. And then he still had to deal with all the things that he had to do. You see, we need to stop complaining about time. We need to stop complaining about the things we have to do. Because most of the time, we overload our own plate. You see, but David continued to go take care of the sheep, learn how to play the harp. He continued to learn how to use his slingshot. And remember that phrase I gave you, that success happens when opportunity meets a prepared mind. You want success, but you don't want to prepare yourself for success. David never stopped doing all the things that he was supposed to do. Even though he had to take care of the king, he still went and did all. And the reason I'm saying, I want you to see something. David didn't say, oh, because I went and played the harp for the king last night, 12 o'clock tomorrow, I'm going to get started. I want you to see something. In verse 20. Now Goliath's been coming up challenging everybody, calling them cowards, and Saul was the biggest coward. As you see, when you're a coward, the giants get big in your life. When you're scared of everything, giants become big in your life. And Saul was the biggest coward. Watch this. Watch David. So David rose early in the morning, left the sheep with the keeper, and took the things and went as his father gave him. So his father said, look, David, giving him another task. You see, he had to take care of the king, play the harp. He had to take care of the sheep. He had to do everything. And then his father called him and said, oh, look, by the way, I want to know how the battle is going. I want to know how your brothers are faring out. So I want you to take this wheat and barley. I want you to take this. I want you to take this wine. I want you to bring it to your brothers and make sure they're okay. Now, what does David do? He don't say, I'm going to wait till 12 o'clock. I'm going to wait till 2 o'clock. Watch what he does. David got up early in the morning. You see, I remember I used to hear Dutch Marrero say something. I didn't quite understand it. He said, you can't hoop with the owls and soar with the eagles. You can't do both. Remember that, Charles? Dutch used to say it all the time. You can't hoop with the owls and soar with the eagles. And Dutch said, I don't carry no jobs in my back pocket. Somebody was telling him about a job. He said, you can't hoop with the owls. You can't stay out all night and expect to get what the eagle get in the morning. You cannot not prepare yourself and expect me to pull a job out of my back pocket. Success happens when opportunity meets a prepared mind. So David got up early in the morning. Early in the morning. See, David got up early in the morning. And he went out and he did what his father told him to do. Now watch this. Verse 20. And all the men of Israel saw, and they fled for him dreadfully. They were running. So the men of Israel said, have you seen the man who came up? Surely he has come up to defy Israel. And it shall be that when the man who kills the king will enrich him with great riches, will give him his oldest daughter, and give his father's house exemption from taxes. Saul was such a coward. And he was going to give his daughter away, exempt for taxes. He was such a coward of the giants in his life that he said that, I'm going to give my daughter, I'm exempt from taxes, and I'm going to make you my son-in-law. That's going to all the care. This is what the king going to do. But watch this. All those men, all the Israelite army, all these valiant warriors, David's coming up to check on the war, to check on his brothers. Now his brothers hearing the same thing that everybody else is hearing. You see, success happens when opportunity meets a prepared mind. When those giants are so big in your life, when Goliath is the biggest thing you can see, when you're down in that valley, you're down in that crater, you're lost, you're confused, you're mixed up, you're blaming everybody in the world for this is where I'm at. My mama didn't do this. My daddy didn't do this. I grew up on the wrong side of the track. My teacher didn't teach me this. Everybody in the world is at fault for where you're at but you. And the giants in your life are so big because you're down in that cradle of, oh, woe, poor me. Where Saul was, oh, woe, poor me. Samuel don't want to be with me anymore. God ain't with me anymore. Oh, woe, poor me. No, you made some terrible choices. And those choices have you where you are. And God has allowed you to make those choices. So where you at is based on your choice. But what you hear is so critical. Because if your mind is not prepared, when that point in time manifests itself, if your mind is not where it needs to be, if your perception is not where it needs to be, that window of opportunity is going to close. You see, what happens is that there's a theory that when mass and time collides, everything is going to dissipate. When mass and time collide. What that means, when mass and time intersect, and time will interface, and a window of opportunity will open itself. And the big question for you and me, when God allows that point in time to happen, when mass and time interface with one another, not intersect. They intersect in the book of Revelation when you see the whole reconfiguration of the world. But they interface with one another, mass and time. That's a point in time when you are prepared, when God has prepared you, when God allows mass and time to interface, and it's that little bitty window that when you're ready, when that little bitty window happens, you can come out of that crater, and the giants that are so big in your life are no longer as big. I want you to see something. Watch this. Verse 24. And all the men of Israel saw and fled. They were dreadfully afraid. These were the best warriors. The giants, those giants have become so big they didn't want to deal with it. Saul even put a bounty out there. Saul said, look, this is what I'm going to do. They didn't even hear it. Now, I want you to see how people are. When they are all messed up, when they're not ready for that point in time, when they haven't prepared themselves, they try to beat you down. Watch this. It says, so Saul has made this proclamation. Look at verse 26. And then it says that David spoke to the men who stood by him, saying, what shall be done for the man who killed this Philistine and takes away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine who shall defy the armies of the living God? You see the different perspective? See, the Philistines are not giants to David. He sees them as uncircumcised dogs. That's what he sees them as. Uncircumcised dog. He see them. Remember I told you about the land of the giants? It's inverted with David. David knows that he has a giant with him, and that's God. So David says, for who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? And the people answered him this manner, saying, shall it be done for the man who kills him? Now, Eliab, his oldest brother, heard what he said, and he said, Eliab answered and arose against his anger. You remember, now pay attention to this. David wasn't anointed and appointed in secret. See, a lot of people believe that. Jesse called all of his sons. So they saw Saul anoint David. That's a little part of that story that we don't realize. You see, his anger is now arose against David. Because one, David was anointed and appointed by God. And secondly, David has been doing all of the prerequisites. David has been doing all of the things that are required. So you want success, but you don't want to do what's required for success. You don't want to make the commitment. You don't want to spend the time. You don't want to spend the resources. And when you don't want to spend your time, and you don't want to spend your resources, and you don't want to commit, when that point in time happens, you're not going to even see it. And what's going to happen is that window's going to close, and you're going to ask yourself, well, why don't I ever get these opportunities? Why don't I ever get this favor? Why don't I ever get this blessing? No, it's because you didn't prepare yourself when God allowed that point in time to manifest itself. And only God knows when that point in time is going to happen. So his brother, instead of his brother, look, here's David coming to bring food and wine and water, and instead of his brothers embracing him, what should they do? This is what people are going to do to you, too. And look what he says. Why did you come down here? And with whom have you left those few sheep in the wilderness? You see, he's mocking him. What are you doing down here with this great battle? Who sent you down here? Now I want to ask you this question. Do you see a great battle going on here? Or do you see people inside of a crater and they see a giant their philosophy, their mentality, where they stand. They see a giant. I don't see no great battle going on. I see Goliath coming out, challenging them 40 days and 40 nights, and a bunch of cowards running and hiding and fleeing. But God's words tell us they fled. So here's your brother coming to bring you some food, water, and check on like his dad told him to do, and what you going to try to demean him? Hey, what you doing over here? What's going on with those few little sheep? They want to put you down. You see, remember, David was over there doing his job. He's taking care of the sheep, taking care of the king. His dad said, look, I want you to go do this. Now watch this. And whomever left those few, it didn't say, he could have just said sheep. They want to stick the knife in there. Who you left those few sheep with? By the way, you're so insignificant, you ain't even taking care of all the sheep. Now watch this. Watch how they try to twist it on you. I know your pride and the insolence of your heart. You see, you got to look at the words. He said, look, I know you, Doc. You got a lot of pride about you. You got a lot of insolence. You're arrogant. When you have done the things that you need to do, when you have prepared yourself, and that point in time happens, and God allows that point in time to manifest itself, when time and matter interface, not intersect, and God allows that window of opportunity to happen, and because you've prepared yourself, you take advantage of that window of opportunity, now you're arrogant. Now you're conceited. Now you have insolence about you. You see, they will try to tear you down. God allowed that point in time to manifest himself. Instead of embracing it, they try to tear you down. And you're going to find when you prepared yourself, when your mind is where it needs to be, when your perception is where it needs to be, and God allows that window to open and you go through it, nobody ever don't remember the times you were out there late at night with those sheep by yourself. Nobody ever remembers when you had to get up early in the morning. All they see is your insolence and your pride, just like his brothers. Look what he says. And David said, what have I done? Hey, man, I was taking care of the sheep. No matter how few they are, it was a task that Father gave me. Now Father's giving me another task. I'm coming out here to get a report for Father, and oh, by the way, he wanted me to bring you some food, some wine, and water. What have I done? What have I done to you? But watch this. You don't need to stay stuck on stupid. When people are finding fault with you, when people are criticizing you, when people are trying to change your mindset, whereas the giants in their lives are not the giants in your life, when they're trying to reposition you, you have to turn to what you know. And what you know is the Word of God. Now watch this. And David said, what have I done? Then he turned from him toward another. Don't stay stuck on stupid. Don't keep dealing with people who are trying to tear you down, who are trying to break you apart, who are trying to dehumanize you, who are trying to make you think that you're something that you're not. Forward, step in, step out. This is the point in time. Come through this window. Don't stay stuck on stupid with those people who are trying to hold you back. You trying to placate them. You trying to please them. You trying to make them think you okay with them. They okay with you. And okie dokie. And they're trying to tear you down. Because God has anointed you. God has appointed you. And you have done all the preliminaries. You have done the prerequisites. Time and matter comes together, touches one another. That window of opportunity, you're spending all your time trying to deal with this one thing, with that one thing, with this one understand. Don't get caught in that trap. Do what David did. Watch what he does. Then he turned from him toward another and said the same thing. He didn't say anything different. But he got away from that ignorance. He got away from that arrogance. When you see somebody who is arrogant, when you see somebody who is ignorant, run. You cannot defeat arrogance and ignorance. They will tear you down. Because they can't compete with you where God has for you. They're going to tear you down and try to bring you where they are. Watch this. I want you to see it for yourself. Then he turned away to another, and he said the same thing. And those people answered him as the first ones did. You see what happens when you get away from stupidity? When you get away from arrogance? When you get away from ignorance? When you encounter an ignorant, arrogant person, you need to run. Because all they're going to do is spend all their time trying to tear you down. Because they haven't done what they're supposed to do. The only way they can stay on the plane with you is to tear you down. The only way David's brothers could compete with him is to tear him down. Now watch this. And when the words which David spoke were heard, they reported them to Saul, and he sent for him. Then David said to Saul, let no man fail because of him. Your servant will go and fight the Philistine. Now, see, David is prepared. We think David is not. You see, don't get David as this little meek, mild child. David's going to tell you, and he's going to tell the king, hey, Doc, I was anointed by God. I was appointed by God. And oh, by the way, I've been preparing myself for this. I've been preparing myself for this for years. So what you see as a giant, I see as a midget. Because I've been preparing myself. God anointed, God appointed, and I've been preparing myself for this very moment. Watch what it shows you. Watch this. And Saul said there, watch this. You're not able to go against the Philistines. Small mind, small thinking, small disposition. You're the king. And you've been asking all this time for somebody to step in, step out, and face the giants in your life. You see, Goliath was a giant in Saul's eyes, in the eyes of the Israelites. Goliath wasn't a giant in front of David. So because you see something one way, don't try to make me see it that way. Don't try to set me back. Your perception is all messed up. Your insight is all messed up. And yet you're going to try to come in and imprint that, put an indelible imprint on me on that? No way. No way. And Saul said to David, you're not able to go against the Philistine to fight with him, for you are youth and not a man of war. And he's been a man of war from his youth. See, Saul he don't know what Goliath's been doing. He lifts Goliath up above him and all of his other men. He's just a boy. Yeah. Goliath's been preparing for war since his youth. It's a perspective. I want to show you something. And David said to Saul, see, don't let anyone take you away from the position that God has put you in, that God has anointed you for, that God has appointed you for, that you've been preparing for. Don't let some insecure, insignificant person walk into your life and steal your blessing and steal the glory that you can give to the living God. Watch this. But David said to Saul, watch this, watch this. Remember Saul said, you're just a youth. You don't know nothing about war. Look, let's look at it again so you can see it. For you, in verse 33, part B. For you are a youth, and he is a man of war from his youth. But David said to Saul, your servant used to keep his father's sheep. And when a lion or a bear came to look out the lamb of the flock, I went after it, and I struck it, and I delivered the lamb from its mouth. And when it arose against me, I caught it by the beard, and struck it and killed it. Now, you see, you and I wouldn't want to go out there and take care of those sheep. And what do I mean by that? Oftentimes, God will allow a situation to happen to prepare you for something that you can't even see. So with David saying, hey, Goliath had been preparing for war since his youth. But God was preparing me since my youth also. The difference between me and you, Saul, and everybody else is that I understand it. And I can see it. And I know the living God. Now watch this. Watch when you know that you know that you know that God is the head of your life. Nobody can take anything away from you when you know that you know that you know that God is the head of your life and God's been preparing you all your life for something. Nobody can touch it as long as you stay where you need to be. Watch this. Your servant had killed both the lion and the bear. David said, I killed the lion and the bear. The worst enemy of a shepherd is the lion, the bear, and the coyote. David said, I killed both of them. Are you telling me something about some Goliath? Watch this. Your servant had killed both the lion and the bear, and his uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them. Saul, just like I killed the lion and the bear, through the power of the Holy Spirit. This uncircumcised Philistine, this giant in your life, is going to be just like. And that's how you got to deal with the giants in your life. When you run into the financial problem, don't make it bigger than life. When you run into the marital problem, don't make it bigger than life. When you run into the social problem, don't make it bigger than life. When you run into the relationship problem, don't make it bigger than life. Realize that all the things that God has been preparing you for has prepared you to deal with this crisis in your life. But be like one of them, seeing that he has defied the armies of the living God. See, David said, I'm not doing this because of me. I'm doing this because I was appointed and I was anointed by God. And this Philistine had the unmitigated gall to defy the army of the living God. So David is saying, what I'm going to do is going to glorify God, and Saul is going to make me better, you coward. You're nothing but a coward. All that God has done for you. God allowed you to defeat these Philistines before. He allowed you to defeat the Amalekites. Everybody that came up against you, the Canaanites, who had iron and swords and chariots, God allowed you to defeat them all. But you have allowed this uncircumcised Philistine to become such a massive giant over the armies of God and the people of God. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You see, when you let those financial problems, those relationship problems become giants in your life, bigger than God, what you're saying is that you don't trust God, you don't believe in God. Watch this. Moreover, David said, who the Lord, see, you got to stop being stuck on yourself. You got to get out of self. David ain't say, I'm going to do this all on my own. God anointed me and God prepared me. I'm going to do it with the power of God through the essence of the Holy Spirit. Watch this. He said, the Lord will deliver me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear. He will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine. I ain't worried about Goliath. Goliath is just a midget to me. Y'all are living in some alternative universe where everything is bigger than you. No. My God is bigger than him. My God is panoramic. My God was in the beginning. My God is in the end. Time and matter don't mess with God. God mess with time and matter. Amen. And there's a point in time, and this is the point in time, and through the power of my Lord, this uncircumcised Philistine is going to go down. All right. Because the battle is the Lord. See, David knew in his heart that the victory was his before he even went up to Saul. And you notice Saul called for him. Saul called him. And you see, when God has something for you to do, they're going to call you. You don't have to call them. Everybody that they know, everybody that they see, they're going to say, not this one, not that one. They're going to say, call him. Call her. And you just have to wait for that point in time. Watch this. And Saul finally began to see something. And Saul said to David, go, and the Lord be with you. Now I want you to see something. You see, God prepared David. And David had everything he needed. And God prepares you, and God prepares me. And God is the God of provision. And God's going to give us everything that we need. But there are going to be people who are going to try to come and say, use my idea. Use my philosophy. Use my understanding. Because they lean on their own understanding. And they think it's the mechanisms of the world that makes the difference. No, it's the power of God that makes the difference. And they're going to try to fit you into what they are. You heard what I said? They're going to try to fit you into what they are. Watch this. So Saul clothed David with his armor and put a bronze helmet on his head. And he clothed him with a coat of mail. Now watch this. David fastened his sword to his arm and tried to walk, for he had not tested them. So you got to vet stuff that people bring to you. Don't just let anyone come tell you anything. He said, she said, they said, who is he? Who is she? See, you got to vet information, and you got to vet things that people bring to you, because you don't know where that's coming from. Amen. David tested what Saul was giving to him. He tested it. You got to vet things. Don't let just people call you up and tell you some nonsense. Oh, girl, you know, such and such. Well, who is such and such? You got to vet it. You got to test it. Watch what David does. And it says, David fastened his sword to his armor, 39, and tried to walk. Remember, it didn't say he walked. He said he tried. For he had not tested them. And David said to Saul, now watch this. I cannot walk with these, for I have not tested them. So David took them off. Shake off nonsense. You see, when people come to you with all that noise, all that white light, all that noise, hear the noise and don't hear the noise. Because what they want you to do is focus on the noise. And if I can get you to focus on the noise, I'm taking you from where you are to where I want you to be. It's that I got you. I got you where I want. Don't pay. Listen, you're going to have all kind of noise coming at you every day. But you got to stay focused. You got to say, God anointed, God appointed, God prepared me. I did all the prerequisites. I was committed. I practiced excellence. This window of opportunities open up. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. God controls mass and time. I'm going through this window. Because I've tested and vetted what you told me, and it don't fit me. Now watch this. So David took them off. You see, once he vetted it, he said, not for me. Now watch this. Then he took his staff in his hand. You remember I told you David had been out there practicing? You see, one of the best weapons of the Israelites was the sling and the rock, the slingshot. They could hit something, some of them as far as 200 feet with that. Yeah. See, we think this is incidental. We think everything is just incidental. God isn't a God of incidental. God is a God of perfection. God is a God of direction. God is a God of excellence. God is a God of purpose. While David was out there doing what nobody else wanted to do. You see, don't be concerned that a boss or somebody's trying to get you to do something that no one else wants to do. God may be preparing you for something that you don't even know. It's the little minuscule things that repulse us, that become giants in our life that we don't want to do. And God may have you be prepared for a point in time that you're not aware of. I'm not saying let anybody humiliate you. I'm not saying let anybody intimidate you. I'm not saying let anybody take your integrity. Can I digress for a little moment? I remember when I was working at United Parcel Service. I might have told you this story before. I was making like $15 an hour. I graduated from unloading the truck. All of us, everybody's been to college. UPS hired a lot of people out of high school and college. I unloaded the truck. I graduated from unloading the truck to loading the truck to splitting the belt. I even became the union shop steward. And Leroy Henderson, great man, UPS supervisor. And I remember Leroy's name because it just had an impact on my life. And Leroy Henderson told me one day, Don, I need you to go pick those packages up off the ground. I said, Leroy, I split the belt, man. He's somebody else can pick the packages up. Now, how stupid that is. I'm going to tell my supervisor that it's my responsibility to split the belt. He needs to go somebody else to pick up the packages. So I'm a union shop steward at that time. You know, when the part-timers have a union shop steward. So I get a call from George Wesley, the head of the union, the Teamsters union here in New Orleans metropolitan area. And George Wesley says, Donald, have you lost your mind? I said, what do you mean, Mr. Wesley? He said, the man must really like you because he picked up the phone and called me today and told me what happened that morning. He said, Donald, I digress a little bit. I want to share this with you. He said, Donald, let me explain something to you. He said, UPS pay you $15 an hour. And he said, UPS is in the business of delivering packages. And anything that Mr. Henderson needs for you to do to get those packages to the customers on time, you need to do it. He said, don't have me come over there to save your job like you've had to save other people's jobs. He said, if Mr. Henderson tells you to go and mop the locker room out where the package drivers have to go in and change their clothes, you go do that. As long as he don't tell you something that humiliates you or take away from your integrity, it's your responsibility to do what he's telling you to do because he's paying you $15 an hour. And I learned that at 19. That you do what you have to do to be able to do what you want to do. Right. You do what you have to do to be able to do what you want to do. I digressed there because I wanted to share that, but the Spirit put it on my heart, brought it back to me. So David sort of said, look, this isn't for me. And he drew near the Philistines. Remember I told you, when the giant's in your life, you got to step up. You got to step out. See, what the giant wants you to do, he wants you to back up. And every time you back up, you give up a little space. Every time that financial situation gets so big that you think you can't handle it, you're backing up. Now watch this. Bringing this to a close. And David drew near the Philistine. He didn't run back. So the Philistine came and began to draw near David. You see, what happens is that giant, that giant is so used to people running back and just staying where he are. When you come forward towards that giant, because he's not accustomed to it, he can't understand it, he gets uncomfortable, he gets fluttered because he's not accustomed to people coming back. When you start walking toward that giant will come back towards you. Watch this. So the Philistine came and began drawing near to David, the men who with his shield with him before him. When the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was only a youth, ruddy and good looking. So the Philistine said to David, watch this, psychological warfare. People will try psychological, if nothing else works, they're going to try psychological warfare on you. Watch this. Am I a dog that you come to me with sticks? And the Philistine even cursed David by his gods. And the Philistine said to David, come, let me, and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field. You see, the giant thinks that he can consume you. And when you're into self, the giant can consume you. Those financial problems, those marital problems, those relationship problems, those health problems, they become so dominating that they consume you when you're into self. But when you're into God, you reverse the script. And when you know where you are and you know who you are, you know who you have a relationship with, nothing matters but that relationship with God. Regardless of how the psychological warfare that's going on. Regardless of how people are trying to tear you down. When you know that you know that you know that you have that relationship with God, you can reverse the script. Watch this. And we're coming to a close. Then David said to the Philistine, watch this. Watch this. Pay attention to this. And David said to the Philistine, you come with a sword and with a spear and with a javelin. You come well prepared. See those giants in your life? They come well prepared. But what they don't know, that there's a God of provision. No matter how prepared those giants are, you're even more prepared when you have the relationship with Jesus Christ. But watch this. Don't put it on yourself. You see, we have a tendency to want to fight within ourselves. Remember, the battle is the Lord's. We're only vehicles that God used to glorify himself and make us better. Watch this. Watch what David says. And this is what we have to understand. But I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts. See, David didn't say, I'm coming to you by myself. No. I'm not even coming to you on my own volition. I'm not even coming to you on my own accord. Watch what he says. But I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel whom you defy. Hey, see, Goliath, you ain't putting me down. Goliath, you ain't trying to tear me down. You're trying to tear down the Lord of hosts. This day, the Lord will deliver you into my... I'm not going to do it of my own volition. This day, Tarek, the Lord will deliver me into your hands. And I will strike you and take your hand from you. And this day I will give the carcasses of the camp of the Philistines to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field, that all earth may know that there's a God. You remember what God told Pharaoh? God told Pharaoh, I raised you up for this very, very important time. It was me who raised you up, Pharaoh. It was me, not your ancestry, not your inheritance. It was me, Pharaoh, who raised you up for this very, very, very point in time when mass and time meet, so the whole world will know that I am God. And from that point on, every time Israel ran at anybody, they said, you remember what that God of theirs did? And you see what I'm saying to you is that you have to buy into God. And just like David took that slingshot and David slung that rock, David knew this, and this is what you need to know, and never, never lose this. Look what he says, that all the assembly should know that the Lord does not save with a sword and a spear. God don't need your sword and your spear. God don't need your philosophy. God don't need your history. God don't need your geology. Watch this. For the battle is the Lord's. Remember that. The battle is the Lord's. And he will give you unto our hands. You see, because the battle is the Lord, he's going to make you my footstool. He's going to put you under me. And when we embrace that and we know that and we say to ourselves that the battle is the Lord's, not ours, we're going to know that we can step in, that we can step out, and that we can face any giant in our life. So don't let the giants, Tarek, in your life become so big that they become bigger than the God of your life. You see, because the God of your life spans time and mass. Who created mass? God. Mass can be, see, God created mass and can never be destroyed. And God created time, so it's never ending. So if God created task, mass, and time, God could bring mass and time so close together that the interface, and that's the point in time when that window of opportunity opens for you. And why does that window of opportunity open? That window of opportunity opens so we can glorify God and he can make us better. Because that's what this life is all about. Don't get it mixed up. You and I are here for one reason. One reason and one reason alone. That's to glorify God. And when we glorify God, he makes us better. And when he makes us better, not perfect, not righteous, none are righteous, none, not one, but he makes us better. And it's that better that other people can see. And then when they see that better, they come to realize that it's the righteousness of God that's bequeathed to me and you, that's accounted to us. That don't mean we earned it. Because we've glorified God, and in glorifying God, we made ourselves better. God bequeaths his righteousness to us, and other people can see it. Do you receive that message?